Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Made to Shine. You guys, I am so just out of my orange workout shorts excited right now because I have not only a really impressive powerhouse of a woman on this episode today, but also a dear friend. And I'm just so excited to dive into all the things. You guys, she is a professional model, CTV stylist, founder and model coach at Runway Unlimited, and a health and nutrition global entrepreneur. We have my beautiful friend Maddie on with me today.
Hi, Annie.
Maddie, how you doing?
It's so nice to see you, Annie. Thank you so much for having me on today. Sorry if I twist and shout over here, but I'm present and I'm ready.
We are twisting and shouting these next 30 minutes because there's just so much. First, I think, what's so cool, and everyone listening in, like, you're obviously going to see just how impressive Maddie is. I mean, everything I've just read, like, she is such a driven person. She is so disciplined. She's such a dreamer, and she executes on those dreams. But she also just has such a beautiful heart, and she has so much value to add, and she is just so insightful. So I am selfishly so excited to learn from you today, and selfishly so excited for my audience to take some tidbits from you, just because in regards to people listening in, they're of all phases of life, all different sorts of dreamers, all different sorts of goal setters out there. And I think the principles that you're going to share, and I know the value that I've even learned from you this far in our friendship, it's going to help them so much. So I'm stoked. But before we even dive into that, let's just dip our toes in the water first with my favorite first question of any guest I have, which is, what is your favorite quote, Maddie? And
oh my gosh. My favorite quote has to be, if you don't make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Because when I heard that for the first time, it changed my perspective on business, on entrepreneurism. And it really just kind of set that ablaze for me. So I think that's got to be one of my favorites.
And what is that? I mean, so when did you hear that quote? Was that something you heard like last week, or how old were you when you heard that?
That was probably about 5 years ago now. 5 years ago, I heard it for the first time coming out of university. And I realized that I had to figure out other ways of business, and just the classic kind of workflow wouldn't necessarily work for me. We have to, I know you talk about multiple streams of income, right? Multiple streams of income. Yes. And that opened my eyes to that, definitely.
Okay, so let's dive into that a little bit more, because I think that's so powerful, and that's such a cool aspect of your journey, because they don't teach multiple streams of income. They don't teach the importance of it. And I don't think people even know what the heck that really means. So let's start from the beginning. Like, everything you're doing right now, you are living the life of someone who has multiple streams of income. She's doing different things. Let's go back. Were you like, was that always your goal? Was that always your dream? Or like, when you heard that quote, what was the before of the before and after?
Well, the before, to be super honest with you, I mean, I've been a working girl my whole life. Like, I started modeling when I was 8. Okay. So
wow. Is that typical? Is that like for models? Is that the typical age to start?
I mean, some child models, right? But not everybody goes on to continue that career as long as I have, right? Like, this is a 16, almost 17-year career now. So definitely I learned how to be a professional at a very young age. And I think I was blessed with that. So that journey goes back far, far into my past when I started working. But, being awakened to the working world at such a young age, it showed me that, as much as I appreciated and as much as I valued school, I knew that there was more to life than just following that one path, right? We've always been taught to go to school, get a good job, climb the ladder, all the things. And that's fantastic. That is one way to do it. But I saw from that young age, since I started working so young, that I could do kind of anything. Like, there's so many different ways of doing that. So it actually, in my grade 11 year, I don't share this story very often because I'm never taken back that far. But in my grade 11 year, so for you, that would be junior, right? I think junior in high school. Yeah. I'm in Canada, for those of you who don't know. I realized that they gave us 8 credits, right? 8 credits in a year, but I only needed 6 credits to graduate. And I went, wait a second, why would I do 8 credits when I only need 6 to graduate? And this was my first kind of moment where I said, I can back this up and I can graduate high school early if I play my cards right. I can, if I take the steps, if I build myself a game plan, I can graduate high school early, because as much as I loved school, I'm not an academic, right? I'm a working girl.
I didn't love school, so it's okay to say that.
Right? And it's just the bottom line for some people aren't, like, some people follow that path, others don't. And so what I did is I actually set a game plan for myself in grade 11, however old you are at that age, like 16, 17. And I was like, I'm going to do my 4 credits in my first semester. I'm going to do an online class, and I'm going to go to summer school. And I actually sent myself to summer school. And I think that was the first moment where I was like, you know, there's going to be sacrifices. There has to be a game plan, but I have a goal, and I'm going to go for it. And that was the first step, I think, in that entrepreneurial journey. And the first time I proved to myself that I could recognize that there was a possibility, and I could set that game plan and actually follow it. And I did, Annie. I graduated high school early, and I was like, all my friends were going back to school in their second semester. And I was like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm done.
Yeah. Wow. That is, okay, there's so many things there. I think let's go to the game plan part, because it's New Year's. Everyone came in with goals. They came in with all these things. Maybe there's someone that's like, yeah, Annie, I listen to you. I've heard Maddie before too, like multiple streams of income. Yes, yes, yes. Or even fitness goals or health goals or friendship goals. And the amount of people that make the plans, they make the game plan, but they aren't like Maddie, who actually does it, and they don't follow through. And I guess my first question is, what do you think you did differently in all the things and all the game plans you've ever set? Because I know you're a planner and you've done a lot of stuff. So you've set a lot of plans in your life. What's different about what you did versus most people to where you actually followed through with what you said you were going to do?
Well, I mean, everybody's different. First and foremost, everybody's different, and everyone has different reasons. But you have to set burning reasons why you're doing it. And not just a desire, right? Of course, we talk about having that burning desire, but you have to stack reasons behind the reason you're doing it, right? You can't just say, oh, I want to do this. No, what's the reason you're doing it? And the reason for me is that, well, number one, as I said, I was kind of tired of school, but I wanted to travel with modeling. I had been modeling at that point. By my grade 11 year, I had been modeling for, 6 years straight, and I wanted to travel. Travel was something that, every, high school girl is like, oh, I want to travel. I want to go to Paris. I want to go to all these places. Yes. And I wanted to travel, and I wanted to go with modeling it because that was a possibility. So I said to myself, when I'm done high school, or when I graduate, I'm going to get myself an agency somewhere else. And so I graduated high school, and a couple days after my 18th birthday, I moved to Milan to model. Like, there was a reason behind it. There was a solid thing I was working towards. So I think that's a very unique story, but you have to give yourself and create yourself that reason, that thing you're working towards. And you can make that for yourself. It can be whatever you want it to be, but you have to have the reason, the drive, or else it's so easy to go back and just say, you know what, never mind. I'm going to stay in high school because it's comfortable. It's where all my friends are. Like,
yes,
you have to give those reasons and make them greater than they would be to go backwards, right? Make it more, if it has to be painful or whatever that is, make it greater than what it feels like to step backwards.
Oh my gosh, that is so good, because it's so true. If you have your why, you have your how. Simon Sinek says that. And I think sometimes, you have to you get to a point where it's almost like the pain of staying the same and the pain of staying where you are outweighs the pain of trying for something new, yet the steps to get there are unfamiliar, right? And I think what's so cool about your story too is at such a young age, you were willing to make the decision because you saw your future. You saw where you were headed. You saw where you wanted to go, and you were willing to be different. I mean, you even said it. Everybody else wasn't doing this. Everybody else is going. And so I want to talk about that, because I think a lot of times people let what holds them back is the fact that they're going to stand out, that they're going to be different. People are probably going to look at them differently. I mean, was that even something you ever struggled with or thought about, or what did that look like? Like the other people thought of you?
Absolutely. Like, totally. So, I mean, again, as a model, it's a very unique scenario, but replace that with anything, right? Model, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
tell
good.
anyone that I was modeling until they finally found out when I moved to Milan. Like, I didn't want people to
Wow.
know because I didn't want to walk the halls, or I didn't want to walk around and have anybody treat me differently for the fact that that's what I do. You know, it's my job. It's what makes my income. Like, it's what, you know, it's just a job. That's how I've always seen it. It's a job. It's an incredible job, but I didn't want people to know. So, because I wanted to blend in. And it took time, and it took a lot of confidence to say, you know what? No, I am unique. You are unique. Everyone has their unique pieces, but you're also more than just the model, right? That took a long time for me to say, actually, no, I'm a businesswoman. Wow. I'm a planner. I'm a go-getter. I'm an action taker. I'm so much more than just what that persona offers and gives and is. And I really had to step into the grander me, and have modeling just be a part of it. And I am the driver, you know? So you really have to embrace it and step into that, and let the confidence be confident, like let it be, so that you can embrace it and be it.
Dang. I think I once heard it, that a lot of women, what they do with their gifts, whether that's, their ability to be super professional, super organized, a great speaker, a great writer, a great businesswoman, like we as women sometimes feel like we have to do big things, but we can't take up a lot of space. So it's like, work really hard, but don't talk about it. Like, do really great things, but don't talk about it, because that's boasting, that's cockiness. So it's like, work hard, but do it in the dark so nobody knows about it. And that has always resonated with me, because it's so funny, like with my books or any, like I grew up, like after my first couple, I would belittle them. Oh yeah, I'm a little writer. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. And it's funny, because I see that as a lot of times women who are very professional and they're very successful, you belittle your success because you don't want to be off-putting and you don't want to make other people uncomfortable. And so I'm curious, like, when can we go a little bit deeper into that transition? Because I think that's where so many women are. It's like, I see people crushing it. They are doing phenomenal things. They are owning their sales job. They are owning their marketing job. They are owning their family. They're great moms. They're great, presidents of the soccer clubs or whatever, but they're not letting themselves be confident because they think that's a bad thing. So how'd you do that?
Well, I think you have to embrace your strengths. You have to know that whatever that is actually a strength, and you want to play to your strengths. And you and I both know the great Kathy Savage. She's always said, you got to toot your own horn. You got to toot your own horn, because no one else is going to toot it for you. No one else is going to toot it for you. And if you want it to go bigger, for more, if you want to go for more, you've got to be willing to embrace all that you are while still staying humble. Like, that's what we want, right? We just want to stay grounded. We're all still humans here. We're all still people. You're still a grounded person, and that will come through. But don't be afraid to embrace those strengths and all of your accomplishments. My mom and I love to talk about this, when we're working with a woman who's super successful and maybe lacks the confidence, we give them an assignment. We say, write down all the things you've accomplished in your life. All the things. I'm an amazing mom. I'm an incredible cook. I made that. I'm an accountant. All the amazing things you've accomplished in your life, write them down. And then you're going to see for yourself how great you actually are. And it's okay to be that, right? It's okay to be that. The world needs your voice. We need more people embracing that to encourage everyone, because we love to see it, right? I love to see you, Annie, doing your amazing podcast, writing your books. It gives me so much inspiration and optimism. We need to be that for one another.
Wow. That is so good, because there is such a gap between, I feel like people don't have the tools to internalize their accomplishments. I literally was talking about this the other day with somebody. That's something I'm working on is, my nature is I'm so performance driven. It's like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? It's like, okay, check that off the list. What's the next thing? Instead of learning how to take what I'm doing and incorporating into being more of my being. And I think that is for everyone listening. Like, I know I'm not the only one that struggles with that. I know Maddie's not the only one that struggled with that. That is a very practical tool to do. Write down what you're good at. And if you can't think of anything, start with things we're all good at. We can breathe. We can move. You're a great breather. I promise. If you're not, you wouldn't be listening to this. You're a great listener. If you're not, you couldn't be hearing this. Like, just start anywhere and then you will build. But I love that practical application. I also think that what you said about when we can start doing that for ourselves, feeling that for other people becomes natural. And I do think, and I want to get your thoughts on this too, there is such a, females too, but like also just the world, there's such a competitive, like your success is an indication of my lack thereof. Like success is a limited pie. There's limited seats at the table. And if you take a seat, it prevents me from getting a chance to have my seat, right? And I think people think that way. And it's because we haven't first addressed learning how to internalize our own confidence. So we can't be appreciative of someone else stepping into theirs. And I'm curious kind of your thoughts on that. If you've seen that, especially in the fashion industry or the modeling world, just kind of that competitive edge and, if you win, I lose sort of mindset.
I love that. And I'll go back to what you were saying first about really completing that circle. And I think another tool, if I can add to really embracing all the things that you do, is to celebrate your wins. Like actually celebrate your wins. Not just say, oh, I'm going to celebrate my wins. No. Take a moment and if it's go get your nails done or have a bath or pour yourself a glass of wine or whatever you have to do to actually celebrate something, what I find celebration does is it completes the circle, right? And what you just said, Andy, you're such a performance-driven person that you're always on to the next thing. When you're always on to the next thing, you don't actually finish the circle of the thing you were just working on. You just move on. And for me, celebration adds a fulfillment aspect. Right. And that's something that I find we're missing is the fulfillment of the thing that we just did. And when you can feel that fulfilled feeling, then it adds to your confidence. It builds all of that, right? Because you're feeling fulfilled. And that celebration is what gives space for the fulfillment to come in. So if I could give a tip and a tool, if anyone takes anything out of this, celebrate that, for yourself, if anything. But to answer your...
Okay, that was, I just have to pause. Did everyone hear that? Can we rewind? Rewind to minute, I don't even know what minute, like 18, rewind, because 1733, go back. Because, you guys, that is so powerful. Did you hear what Maddie just said? I know that a lot of people that listen to this, they are performance oriented. They're driven, they're disciplined, or else they wouldn't listen to this kind of content, right? And so if you're anything like me, which if you like to hear my voice every week, you probably are, you hate the idea of an unfinished task. I mean, there is no better feeling than crossing things off of my to-do list every day. And it's funny because when I work out, I now look at stretching at the end as like the end of my workout. A workout's not finished unless I've stretched. And I was talking to my sister the other day. I promise I'm going to connect this, everyone. And she never stretches. And I'm like, you didn't finish your workout then. She's like, yeah, I did. I finished my sprints. It's time to go. No, you got to stretch. What if we looked at celebration as like Maddie said, the last piece of the circle? Your task isn't done until you celebrate yourself. Just as a workout isn't done until you stretch. I mean, oh my gosh. That is, I think, one of the greatest things I've ever heard because it makes things so practical. Truly.
Thank you. Well, it's a really great tool to feel the fulfillment. And that's what's the point otherwise, right? We're just moving on to the next, always. So I believe that.
That is so great. Okay. I want to ask you this question and shift gears a little bit because you do so much and you wear so many hats. And one of the things that a question I get a lot and I try to provide value in, but I think it's helpful when other people get their take too is, Maddie, you do so many things and wear so many hats. How do you stay I mean, organized. How do you stay? It's kind of like the quotes, like, I think people think if you do too many things, you're super scattered and you're not focused. But I mean, I don't really agree with that, but I'm curious your take on that, because you do a lot of things and you do them really freaking well. So how do you do so many things so well? How do you stay organized?
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. And I received that. I'm an organized fanatic. Like, I love my agenda. I don't know about you. I love my agenda. I color code everything. It's where my creativity. It's where my creativity.
Love my agenda. Yes.
It's my best friend. I color code everything. But honestly, for those of you out there who are multi-passionate and who call yourself an artist or call yourself a business entrepreneur, whatever you are, you have multiple things on the go. I'm sure you've noticed too that when you focus on one thing, that thing excels, right? When you put all your energy into one thing, it grows. And when we are scattered, or when we do have multiple things on the go, you sometimes feel like you're whack-a-mole, right? You're playing whack-a-mole. And I gotta say, Annie, if I'm being super transparent, it's a bit of whack-a-mole, but it's organized whack-a-mole. It's like, okay, how am I?
It's organized whack-a-mole.
And you guys, it's okay to do it messy. Like my mom and I are business partners. We always say, you gotta do it messy. Like, it's okay, or else it won't get done. Like, stop painting the office, right? You just start, just get it, just begin. So number one, drawing out your day. Like, what does your schedule look like? What do you want to put your attention on first? Like, what's the thing you want to grow? The other thing I would say is, if you can bleed your passions into one another, then you're looking at a business strategy, right? So if you can have a client come in one aspect of your business and move into another aspect of your business. So you've got two things happening, but you've got clients who are interested in multiple aspects of your business. You're looking at, Mom and I look at it like gears where someone can come in one area and then move into another area and then move into another, right? So it's okay that you're multi-passionate, because someone else might come in and also see the different pieces that you do. And as long as you can blend them together, then you can work it as one, rather than always feeling like you're working your pieces in separately, right? If you can morph it into one, if that makes sense, and how it all works together, then it's a business strategy rather than just feeling like you're playing whack-a-mole all the time. That makes sense.
Good. So yes, because what you were saying about, like, one, as in, like, if they can all kind of bleed together, I think when people get overwhelmed at the idea of doing a lot of different things, is they think they have to be different people at each of those things. And there is a big difference between doing a lot of different things and being a lot of different people. And I think when you can identify kind of like who you are, what you're passionate about. Like, I know I wear a lot of hats too. And that's something I love about our friendship, is because we can talk about that. I wear a lot of hats, but I'm the same Annie. Like, I bring my passion about health and wellness and mental wellness and finance. I bring that to my corporate job. I bring that to my entrepreneurial endeavors. I bring that to my writing. It's not being different people, but yes, you are doing different things. And I love that, because I think when you kind of look at it as that idea of one, everything does. It's like you are the tree, you're the root, and you have different branches going on. But it's not monkey jumping from tree to tree. It's still the same. It's the same foundation. And I think that's so good. And I know you have built such an incredible business in the health and wellness space. And I know that's how we connected. And so I'm curious, like, we have a lot of business owners that listen into this, and there are probably people that are discouraged. They've been going for a couple of years and they're banging their heads against the wall. Like, should I quit? Should I give up? This is my passion though, but I'm not making as much money. Or maybe like, I've been really successful and I feel stagnant. I don't feel that fire in the belly anymore. What has been, I guess, kind of some of your biggest struggles in building the business that you have, the successful business that you have, and the lessons you've learned from them that some of our business builders can take?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So I think, first of all, that is the entrepreneurial journey. And I think embracing that, first of all, understanding it, knowing it, embracing it, doesn't make it easier, but you know that you're on the ride, right? That is the journey. and you're doing it. You are successful in that journey already. So congratulations. You're a successful entrepreneur.
Congrats. Wait, hold on. I think that's so good because you guys, did you hear what she just said? Your struggle is the indication you're being successful because that is the journey. So if you're struggling, if you care about something and you're struggling for it, that is a win. And I just want to make sure people hear that because I think sometimes people experience struggle and they're like, I'm doing it wrong. This shouldn't be hard. Most things in life worth having are freaking hard to get. So let's just internalize that, shall we? Okay, continue. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Great. And also, if any of you here are Tony Robbins fans, then you've heard this before, but looking at it as though life is happening for you, right? What is the lesson? If we're going day to day and it's struggle bus, struggle bus, struggle bus, struggle bus, and you're never learning anything from it, it's time to turn around, take a look at that struggle and say, okay, how can I grow from this? How can I take it and actually step above it and allow it to become a piece of my character, a piece of my growth, right? So that's always easier said than done. That's work that you have to do. But for sure, it's going to keep coming and it's going to pass and then it's going to come again and then it's going to pass and then it's going to come again. But we always grow from it. So definitely, I've faced that for sure. And something that I love to do to put myself back in momentum, because that's what happens, right? Is when the struggle comes when we've lost momentum or when we've stopped being the momentum, right? And it happens, I notice almost every summer, things get quiet. People go to their cottages, especially here in Canada, because it's the one season that it's warm. People back out and they're like, I don't want to do anything. So the summer, I'm prepared for it. I know that this summer, the momentum may not be there, right? I'm ready for it. I know it's coming. But giving yourself either an assignment or a project to put yourself back in that momentum. You have to create the momentum, right? It's not going to come from anyone else. You have to do it if it's your business. So I like to give myself a project, like set a date for an event, fill the event, show up at the event, and then continue that momentum afterwards. So giving yourself a project or an assignment, if you feel like you're in a stagnant moment, create something for yourself and then work that.
That is so good because that comes with intention. It's like create your own momentum, create it. We hear that all the time in our particular business trainings. I know it's like create events, create fun incentives, create whatever it is. But I think that's the key. I mean, regardless of what business someone is in, or even if it's not business related, maybe it's art related or family related. It's like put a family trip on the calendar. Do you feel disconnected from your partner? Put a weekend getaway on the calendar. Put a free picnic in the park. You don't have to spend money. Put a picnic in the park on the calendar. Like create the energy that you want to see. And I think that requires a lot of humility because a lot of people like people to do that for them. And that's ego based. It's like, are you kidding me? My partner should be scheduling that. My family should be scheduling that. I always schedule the things. I always plan the things. And I'm saying that because I've said it's I'm always the one to take initiative. But you guys, that's a sign of a leader, right? And that's exactly what Maddie's talking about is a true leader is someone who just falls to your ego every day. You die to it. And you're humble enough to say, no, if I want this, then I'm going to take it upon myself to schedule something, even if I'm always the only one that schedules it. Guess what? You're the only one showing true leadership. That's awesome. Like that is a gift. And I think that's so amazing. And I think that's such great advice for someone, like I said, whether their goals are family oriented, relationship oriented, educational oriented, fitness oriented, business oriented. That's something we can all do. And I love that. And I know we've got a few minutes left. So I want to do fire round, my 2 favorite questions ever. Okay. I'm going to say them at once. So the first is, Maddie, what advice would you give your 10-year-old self? And then what advice would your 10-year-old self give current day?
Okay. So this one's not business oriented, but
don't just let it be whatever it is.
I would tell my 10-year-old self to embrace her friggin' curly hair because Annie.
Amen. I keep going. I relate to this on a spiritual level.
I fought it for so long. I fought it for way too long. And you know what? I love it now. I love my hair. I love the curl. I put it up today because my mom was like, it just takes up the whole screen. And I was like, okay,
Dude, okay, wait, I'm gonna put mine down. I put mine up today too. I used to hate my curly hair so much. I get it from my dad, and my dad hated his. He would wear a ski cap to bed to make it short.
Really? There you go.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, yes. Oh my gosh,
See,
curly
she's
hair
like,
for
it
life.
just takes up the whole screen.
It's beautiful. And you know, it's so funny because I would talk to all my friends with straight hair and they're like, I would die for your curls. I'd be like, I would die for your straight hair. We all want what we don't have.
So embrace it. I would tell my 10-year-old self to embrace it. And then I think my 10-year-old self would tell me, don't do something if it's not fun. Only do the things in your life that are fun. Like, make it fun, because otherwise what's the point, right? Life, like my 10-year-old self learned very young that life is short. And I know that sounds silly for a 10-year-old, but I learned that, you know, with just life. And I would tell myself, just have fun. And I do believe that I embrace that and I bring that into my life now. And I live by that now.
Oh, wow. I think that's so good because you look at your life, you are so successful and you're a professional. Like I know when we do our calls together and like when you do your mod, like you mean business, like you are a great professional. But I think sometimes people mistake professionalism with you can't be fun and funny and like quirky. And what I love about you and why I think we just like connected so quickly is you are so fun and you make it so fun. And I think that's such a good lesson for people is, and that's something I've learned this year in my corporate role and my entrepreneur role. Like I can be fun and I can be myself and I can be quirky and that can still be professional. They're not opposite. So I think that's so good. So Maddie, thank you so much. You are a light in this world, just salt of the earth, my girl. And I'm honored to be your friend. And I'm so excited for my audience to hear the value that we talked about today. So thank you for being on.
Thank you so much, Annie. I really appreciate it. This has been so much fun.
Okay. Quick thing, Maddie, where can people find you? Instagram, Facebook, all stuff. Where
Instagram,
can they find you?
Maddie Hession Official is probably the best place to find me.
Yay. Okay. Everybody, sending you so much love. If you have any comments, questions, tag us in your Instagram stories. Go follow Maddie. She's a joy to follow. And everybody have a blessed day. Sending you love.